Welcome to Meldon Law and Friends. I'm Jeffrey Meldon, founder of Meldon Law, and we have a great afternoon for you today. I hope that everybody who's watching and listening listens carefully today because we have some great information to share with you. Before we go any further, I want to announce that our big promotion for the opening football game, Utah versus the Fightin' Gators, is going to be on September 3rd. That's a Saturday at 7 p.m. And if you go to Meldon Law's Facebook page, you can win 2 great seats along with a $100 gift certificate to Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, where this podcast takes place. We're here right now. You can see Steve Spurrier's helmets behind us. These are all helmets that Steve wore during his career, and it's very exciting for us to be here broadcasting from Spurrier's. In a few minutes we'll have people surrounding us eating food here and watching the incredible artifacts at the museum. We also have a big event coming up Saturday, August 20th at 7 p.m. at the Riley Auditorium in Ocala. It's the Tom Petty performance by a great group called Wildflowers, and it's going to be really a lot of fun. Some of you may know that I was Tom Petty's first attorney, so we had some t-shirts printed up and we're going to be giving them away at the concert. So come and join us. All you have to do is go to the Riley Auditorium website to purchase your seats, and it's great. On the same day, August 20th, the Gator Volleyball opens their season versus JU, Jacksonville University, at 2 p.m. at the O'Connell Center. Again, we're giving away tickets. All you have to do is go to the Meldon Law Facebook page, and you will have a great shot at winning some really terrific seats. We love our volleyball team. Mary Wise has been leading one of the top programs in the country for the past 30 years, and you will be amazed at the quality of the athletes. They are superstars. Our Olympic sports are exciting. Women's volleyball, women's gymnastics, softball, basketball, they're all great. So let's support them and show up this Saturday at 2 o'clock at the O-Dome. Our first guest today is Amanda Krpan, who is the Regional Director for the Coastal Conservation Association of Florida. Welcome, Amanda. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me today.
Yeah, well, this is exciting. I'm a big fan of the CCA, Coastal Conservation Association. Why don't you tell our listeners what Coastal Conservation Association is all about?
Absolutely. So CCA Florida is a nonprofit marine conservation organization dedicated to protecting and preserving Florida's marine environment. And we do that in several different ways. We have an arm in advocacy work, so in the state and national legislature, to advocate on behalf of recreational fishermen. And then we have a habitat arm, and that deals with artificial reefs, seagrass restoration, oyster restoration, and most recently our restocking program where we are physically putting fish back in the water in the state of Florida.
Well, that's amazing. Can you go through a little bit of history of why an organization like CCA came about and why it's necessary to continue the great work you do?
Of course. So back in the early 80s, we had the Gulf Coast Association, and there was a lot of issues with commercial fishermen in the Gulf Coast, and they were very destructive with their gear, and their nets specifically were terrorizing the habitat in our waters and just destroying fish populations. So in 1994, CCA Florida really honed in on the state legislature, and that's when we passed the net ban. And ever since then, commercial fishermen haven't exactly loved CCA because it hurt their livelihood back then, but we have seen such a remarkable rebound from the habitat and redfish population specifically. And then ever since that net banned, we've been involved in so many other advocacy issues, but also those habitat projects that I mentioned.
Now, you can still fish off the coast of Florida, but you can't use destructive measures like nets to
Yes.
do it. Is that correct?
Yes.
So give us some examples of what the nets were doing. You had mentioned, some of the coral reefs, some of the grass in the bottom, the fish population. What was different as far as the nets compared to, say, line fishing?
So the nets were pretty destructive. There were these huge trawling nets that if you picture kind of a back in the day scene of the fishing boats coming in from offshore kind of thing with the big nets hanging off of their boats, they just pull them behind the boats and just destroy seagrasses, which is kind of the lungs of the ocean, which no one really thinks about too much. They always think about coral reefs or dolphins, but seagrasses are very important. And then the bycatch. So whatever was caught in those nets were killed. And a lot of people, like their heartstrings go out to the sea turtles or the dolphins that get stuck in those nets. But we've had so many fish that were not specifically targeted by the fishermen that also died just because they were bycatch.
So the nets basically were scooping up everything in their way, including the ocean floor.
Yes.
And as a result of that, fishermen, sport fishermen in particular, didn't have a healthy habitat to go out and enjoy.
Yes. And that's a very simplistic summary of that. And not all commercial fishermen were bad, and not all commercial fishermen have a problem with CCA. But there were definitely some folks that did not like the net ban because it did hurt their livelihood as commercial fishermen, because that's how they made their money, you know?
Now, a lot of times you go to restaurants and you do see, local fish, right?
Yes.
Now, does that mean that they're all caught on lines?
At a restaurant, it is a lot of commercial fishing. And actually, if you order redfish at a restaurant in Florida, that redfish did not come from Florida waters, because commercial fishing on redfish is banned in the state of Florida. So that fish either came from Texas or Louisiana.
Okay.
Fun fact.
Fun fact. So, what about the commercial fishing? What do they fish for as far as commercial fishing on the coast of Florida?
Yeah, you'll get a lot of pelagic fish, a lot of tuna, all your sushi houses, and all the fish that are provided there. There's a lot of commercial fishing for those sorts of fish. Not a whole lot of inshore fishing, again, because that inshore fishing environment had a lot of the nets. Like mullet fishermen are still using a lot of different tactics to catch mullet. So if you like mullet dip at a restaurant, you can still get that. And commercial fishing is a way of life for many people, and we completely understand that. And everyone, like, I love ordering seafood from a restaurant, so it's not that we're trying to ban commercial fishing for everyone. It's more about, we still want there to be sustainable fish stocks for the future. If you talk with a commercial fisherman, hey, there's only 2 mullet left in the entire sea, what would you do? It's a male and a female, and they couldn't repopulate. Some commercial fishermen would be like, no, I would take that mullet and I would sell it. But then there's others, and there's a lot of recreational fishermen, which is who we are the advocacy arm for, that would say, no, let's leave those 2 last mullet in the sea so that they can repopulate and, be there for future generations.
So I was over in Daytona a few weeks ago for our law firm outing, and I saw shrimp boats out there, and they looked like they had nets. Mm-hmm. So do you know anything about if they're an exception, or how do they fish for shrimp?
Yeah, their fishery is a little different. They still use the nets. I don't have all the information regarding that, so I don't want to misspeak. But, they're still using nets for shrimp, and in rivers and in just certain areas of Florida where their shrimp run is, because shrimp aren't found all throughout Florida. There's so much that goes into it, and there's so many rules and regulations and just everything that happens on our side with CCA versus the commercial fishing. We could talk all day about it.
Well, we might.
Yeah.
Tell us, what are some of the regulations for sport fishermen that go out? I know sometimes there's certain size for fish, there's certain limitations as far as the amount. Can you talk about some of the initiatives that CCA is behind in order to keep a healthy population of fish in the ocean?
Sure. So recently we have had a large interest in the red snapper population. So in the past, red snapper was the fishery of red snapper. There's thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of red snapper in the sea in just the coast of Florida. And the federal government was in charge of that fishery and said, hey, there's not enough red snapper. We're closing the season except for 2 days. And a lot of the Gulf Coast states said, excuse me, there's plenty of red snapper out there. We need to take back control of that fishery and the regulations. Like, people in Kansas are voting upon what happens in the Gulf of Mexico. So that's kind of a recent thing. The Senate Bill 10, the Magnuson-Stevens Act, that was huge for giving the Gulf states control of what happens in the regulations in the Gulf of Mexico. So most recently, we're dealing with the red snapper issue. The data says that there's not enough red snapper, whereas the fishermen, and if you just go and try and go offshore fishing anywhere in Florida and you're catching red snapper when you don't want to, it's saying that the populations are rebounding. They're actually better than ever. But the laws and the regulations are going off of data 3-4 years old. And that's something that we have been very involved with in that conversation. On the East Coast, they were only allowed to fish and keep their red snapper for 2 days this year. And if you go fishing on the East Coast and you try and catch grouper, they're right next to each other, you're only catching red snapper. So it's something, and the red snapper, because they're so deep, when they come up so fast, they get very bloated and their insides fill up with air and they basically die, and they die off anyway when you're catching them. So there's all these devices out there that can help a fish get back deep without dying, kind of thing, but yeah, we can also talk about that forever.
Well,
but red snapper.
No, so I followed a lot of the I saw a lot of bulletins up at different places that I've traveled to in Florida about let's get out and allow red snapper fishing again. And it's a big deal because we got a lot of red snapper. People like to eat it. It's a great fish to eat.
Yes.
So you're there helping to protect the red snapper. At the same time, you're protecting the rights of sports fishermen who are going out there and catching red snapper because they're abundant right now.
Exactly.
Well, that's very interesting, Amanda. And we're going to get back to our presentation with regard to the Coastal Conservation Association of Florida. We've got some really exciting news after the break, and we'll be back in 60 seconds.
Oh my gosh, I can't even believe this. Look what you have done to my truck.
Excuse me, it's your fault, it's not my fault.
Yes, it is your fault.
No,
I am calling Jeffrey Meldon from Meldon Law.
So I'm gonna call Jeffrey, my husband.
Meldon Law, this is Jeffrey speaking.
Jeffrey! This crazy lady here might...
New client?
Yes, but this one might be a little tricky.
I was in a truck accident. Because of the accident, I've resulted in 3 back surgeries. We saw advertisements on TV, and guess who popped up more often than not? It was Jeffrey. The communication that he provided was so appreciative. He shows his compassion as a human. He assisted us in achieving one of our dreams, the acquisition of a home, and we're here today with smiles on our face with the assistance from Jeffrey.
Welcome back to Meldon Law and Friends. I'm Jeffrey Meldon, founder and attorney at Meldon Law, and we're excited to help all of the folks in North Central Florida with whatever their needs are. If they've been seriously injured in a crash, we help people put their lives back together. Please give us a call anytime at 352-373-8000 or go to our website, meldonlaw.com. We're glad to help. This coming Saturday, two big events. We've got the Tom Petty concert in Ocala at 7 p.m. at the Riley Auditorium. Just go to the Riley Auditorium website and you can buy tickets online. Also at 2 p.m. at the O'Connell Center in Gainesville, we've got the Lady Gator volleyball team, always a top-notch team. They're going to be opening against JU at 2 p.m. So check it out. And we're giving away free tickets to that event as well as the opening day for football against Utah, the Utes, at 7 p.m. And you can get a $100 gift certificate to Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, where we're broadcasting from. So check us out at Meldon Law Facebook page. Our guest today is Amanda Krpan. Amanda, we've been talking. I'm just fascinated about what's going on and what your life must entail as being the regional director for CCA.
Yes.
And your territory is from Ocala all the way to Pensacola, right?
Correct, yes.
So that's a lot of fishermen, a lot of fishing, and a lot of great fish in the ocean and Gulf for people to have fun catching.
Exactly. And we have a lot of events from Ocala to Pensacola. We have events actually all over the state. We have 40 chapters from Pensacola all the way down to Key West. And we have a local Gainesville chapter. So you want to get into that as well?
I'd love to. I know all about it. So I think we have a big event coming up September 15th. You want to tell us about it?
Yes, we have our large banquet fundraiser. It's at Legacy Park in Alachua on Thursday, September 15th. It's going to start at 6 p.m. and it goes till about 9:30. We have silent auction, live auction, raffles. Then we're going to have a low country boil, an open bar, always the best part. And it's just a fun evening, and that's when we fundraise for all of these projects that I was just talking about.
Yeah, I've been there the last couple of years, and Meldon Law is sponsoring the koozie this year. So if you go out there, you'll see a really, really nice koozie. It's not one that you're going to want to throw away, right?
Right, yes.
These are great ones.
These are neoprene, heavy-duty koozies.
And you can have a great time. It's one of the most fun parties ever.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think so.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a great time. It's a really nice group of folks out there, and I'm telling you that it's worth the time. It's 6 o'clock on a Thursday evening.
Yes.
So you can get off work. You don't have to dress fancy to go there.
Yeah,
as a matter of
casual.
fact, most people are wearing shorts and blue jeans, and so don't worry about the dress code. It's whatever you want to wear. I promise you, it's so much fun. We bought a couple knives last year. The folks that sell knives that are partners with you.
Yes, Rhineland Cutlery.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those are
very
amazing knives. Mm-hmm. We use them all the time at our home. And there's things like that you'll see available for sale. There's also a bunch of auction items.
Yes, everything from home decor, jewelry. We have collector's items that get donated. Obviously fishing and really exotic and amazing trips that are available. So you don't have to love fishing. You don't have to be completely into fishing. A lot of the wives or the friends that get invited still find something that they want to bid on or they want to win. We have a Louis Vuitton handbag that we're going to be raffling off. Like it's the nines.
I love it. Yeah. And I still wear my CCA T-shirt around the home at night. You know, it's extra large, so it fits everybody.
Yeah.
And it's terrific for sleeping in because it's big and comfortable. And the more you wash it, the softer it gets.
Yes, and pretty much everyone goes home with something.
Okay, so again, September 15th. How do folks buy tickets for it?
Good question. So you can go to ccaflorida.org and then scroll to the events tab, and then under September, you'll see Gainesville Banquet and Auction. Just click that link and you can buy tickets online. They're about $80 for a single ticket, and then you can also buy tables, so you can have all your friends sit together. You can buy a corporate sponsorship table and get a bunch of CCA goodies and branded items, and then kind of get that corporate identity in the program and online and everything like that. So there's a couple different options, and if you don't have a group of friends to go with, just buy tickets and just go, because you're going to want something there, and you're going to want to bring your friends next year, and we hope to grow and continue to grow year after year.
Believe me, just show up, and
Yeah.
you'll see your friends there. It's one of those events where there's always a great turnout, and it's really just a fun event. And the crab boil is always excellent.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
The food is, hey, you're at a fisherman's event, right? You got to have good seafood.
And if you're allergic to any like shellfish or anything, we do have other meal options. So we kind of get all our bases covered.
Now, where does the money that is raised by the event go to?
So all the money we raise in Florida stays in Florida, and it goes back to a lot of those habitat projects that I mentioned, artificial reefs all over the state. We've done a lot of oyster restoration, and again, the biggest one that a lot of people are very interested in these days are our redfish restocking initiatives.
That's great. I saw where you're sinking a big boat coming up to create another reef for what? For fishing. I guess people could go diving around it and stuff like that, right?
Yes, yep, all the above.
So what you're doing is just not for fishermen, it's for people that like to go diving. Because when you tear up the seagrass and the coral reefs, then all of a sudden you just have an empty sand bottom and it's basically dying.
But it is amazing how much that our environment can bounce back, because we do get permits at a completely sandy bottom to release these giant pyramid structures, 15-foot tall pyramid structures made out of limestone. And within 2 days, it'll be full of fish, and things will already be growing on it. It's very cool.
Yeah. So what we need to do is to realize that we have precious gifts. However, if we don't take care of them, they'll be gone.
Yes.
And I think that I went on your website before the show today to prepare and make sure I understood what you did. And it's a very easy website if you want to go and get tickets. CCA Florida, right?
ccaflorida.org, and there's events all over the state, not just in Gainesville. You can buy tickets to win a boat. You can buy tickets to win a golf cart. Like, there's so much going on the website. I highly encourage you to visit the website.
And if you're like me, just Google CCA Florida, and it will come up.
Yes, exactly.
You will find it. So let's talk about, how did you, get inspired and get involved with CCA?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Gainesville, and I went to UF. And while I was at UF, I did a lot of volunteering while also working my way through college. But one of the organizations that I volunteered for was CCA. And upon graduation, a job opening with CCA was open down in Orlando. That's where the headquarters are. And I jumped at the opportunity because I was like, I already volunteer for them for free. Now I can get paid. And the rest is history from there. I originally was only going to be there for a year, and then I'd go back to school, and I've been there for 5.5 years now.
So I take it you're having a good time?
I am, yes. And every day is different, and I wear many hats, and I think that what I do makes a difference. So,
well,
I
agree with you. What are some of the initiatives going on in the next year or two that you think are, really, really important?
Well, for our East Coast anglers, we are going to be releasing 100,000 redfish on the East Coast, which is important to note that we've only released redfish on the West Coast so far because the genetic makeup of a West Coast redfish is different than an East Coast redfish. So we can't release the different coasts on different sides. So we've been working a lot. We've already released over 100,000 on the West Coast over the last 3 years. And this next year, we're releasing 100,000 on the East Coast for all of our East Coast anglers out there.
How far out do you go to release the fish?
It's pretty near shore. A lot of times it's from a boat ramp, like onshore, we're releasing the redfish, and they typically stay within a couple miles of where they're released. But they're pretty juvenile. They're about 4 to 6 inches when we release them, and within 2 years, they'll be keeper size. They'll be the slot size that someone can go and fish for and keep for dinner.
How big does redfish have to be to keep it?
18 to 27 inches.
Okay.
Is the regulation.
And you can get a fillet off of 18 to 27 inches?
Yes. Anything larger than 27 you can't keep because those are actually the breeder redfish. So we want them to be able to repopulate. So that's why it's a slot size.
Okay. Well, we're working at home on a koi pond, but I don't think we're going to have any redfish. I think we might have some koi there and help them eat some of the mosquitoes. And unfortunately, the frogs have taken over our little pond, so we're bringing in some fish to help out.
There you go.
So, and actually, that ties in with exactly what you're trying to do, which is to create healthy environments for the fish and environments that the citizens of Florida and the visitors to Florida can enjoy.
Yes.
Because I don't think 50 years ago we didn't have as many problems. It was starting to occur. However, with the growth in population, the popularity in fish and everything else.
More people, more problems.
More people, more problems.
Yes.
However, I will tell you that, Florida seafood is amazing, and particularly if you get line caught fish, right, that you know is the right size, and you cook it properly. What's your favorite way to cook a redfish?
Oh my gosh. My dad actually is the one that will cook the redfish, but he makes some sort of mayonnaise and ketchup concoction that he bakes the redfish in, like kind of slathered all over it. I don't even know what's in it, but Dad, shout out to my dad. He knows how to make some good redfish.
Well, everybody has their favorite recipe for, redfish and other fish. So it's always good to share ideas.
Yes.
Now, do you have any recipes on your website?
We do, actually. We sell a cookbook on our online store that has some good recipes on there.
So hear that, everybody? If you want to really refine your preparation of seafood for your next party, just go to the CCA website. So that's Coastal Conservation Association Florida. Just Google it or go to Coastal Conservation Association Florida.org.
CCAFlorida.org. Yep.
CCA.
It'll bring you right there.
So once again, we're getting ready to wrap up this segment of our podcast today. However, we really want you to go to the event in Alachua, September 15th. It starts at 6 p.m. I guarantee you will have a good time. As a matter of fact, Meldon Law will give you your money back if you don't have a good time. How's that?
There
money
you go.
back guarantee. I promise you will have a good time. And if you don't get your money's worth for your $80 contribution, you just call me at Meldon Law and we'll make sure you get your money back. However, I predict I won't get very many calls, if any at all. So I want to thank you very much, Amanda, for joining us today. And we are so excited about the upcoming event on September 15th.
Thank you. We will see you there.
We'll be there.
Oh my gosh, I can't even believe this. Look look what you have done to my truck!
Excuse me, it's your fault, it's not my fault.
Yes, it is your
No,
fault!
it's not, no,
I
it's
am
not.
calling Jeffrey Meldon from Meldon Law.
So I'm gonna call Jeffrey, my husband.
Meldon Law, this is Jeffrey speaking.
This crazy lady here, this crazy lady, he might...
New client?
Yes, but this one might be a little tricky. When you're a member of the Gator Nation, you know what it means to never back down. Meldon Law has been a proud supporter of the Gator Nation since 1971. Two forces that won't back down. As the old saying goes, if you can't beat 'em, join 'em. We still hear it. The sound of victory. The joy of being part of something great. And while things may not be the same right now, we haven't gone anywhere. If you bleed orange and blue, then Meldon Law is the firm for you.
We are here at the University of Florida, where Albert and Alberta are competing in the Gator penalty shootout. Albert is ready to stop the shot at all costs. What a disaster! Luckily, Meldon Law is the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. If you have suffered any injury, do not worry, because Meldon Law is going to help you with your recovery. Meldon Law doesn't back down until they reach their goal.
Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down. Involved in delivering quality medicine,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right? You're the new doctor.
Well, especially not.
Oh my gosh, I can't even believe this. Look what you have done to my truck.
Excuse me, it's your fault, it's not my fault.
Yes, it is your
No,
fault.
it's not, no,
I
it's
am
not.
calling Jeffrey Meldon from Meldon Law.
So I'm gonna call Jeffrey, my husband.
Meldon Law, this is Jeffrey speaking.
This crazy lady here, this crazy lady, he might...
New client?
Yes, but this one might be a little tricky. When you're a member of the Gator Nation, you know what it means to never back down. Meldon Law has been a proud supporter of the Gator Nation since 1971. Two forces that won't back down. As the old saying goes, if you can't beat 'em, join 'em. We still hear it. The sound of victory. The joy of being part of something great. And while things may not be the same right now, we haven't gone anywhere. If you bleed orange and blue, then Meldon Law is the firm for you.
We are here at the University of Florida, where Albert and Alberta are competing in the Gator penalty shootout. Albert is ready to stop the shot at all costs. What a disaster! Luckily, Meldon Law is the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. If you have suffered any injury, do not worry, because Meldon Law is going to help you with your recovery. Meldon Law doesn't back down until they reach their goal.
Welcome back to Meldon Law and Friends. I'm Jeffrey Meldon, founder and attorney at Meldon Law. My partner and son, Kerry Meldon, is very much involved, and he does the show sometimes. But today they let me do the whole show, so I'm very excited. We've got a terrific guests today. I want to again mention, so we got big things coming up. We got the Gator football season opening September 3rd against Utah, 7 p.m. It's going to be a big game, nationally televised. Meldon Law is giving away 2 prime seats along with a $100 gift certificate from Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, where we're broadcasting from in their podcast room. People are starting to populate around us having dinner. They open up on Tuesday at 4 p.m. So if anybody wants to come out here and hang out and watch us in our little bird's nest inside the podcast room, Tuesday, 4 p.m. Also, this Saturday in Ocala, Saturday, October 20th, the Riley Auditorium, 7 p.m., a Tom Petty show. There's a great group of Tom Petty tribute band members called the Wildflowers. So we're going to all be there wearing our Meldon Law shirts that were designed for the event. Some of you know I was Tom Petty's first attorney, and we love Tom Petty in North Central Florida. He's a hometown boy from Gainesville, so that's going to be exciting. And women's volleyball this Saturday, August 20th, 2 p.m., opening game for the incredible Gator volleyball team. So it's really going to be an exciting few weeks. And whenever the fall comes around, football's in the air in North Central Florida, and we are in Gator territory around here, and I think most people are so excited about Billy Napier's opening game. It's going to be huge. Anyhow, our first guest was very, very interesting because she talked about saving the fish population and the environment around Florida. Our second guest, Deonna Willis, is the owner of Columbia Direct Primary Care. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so
Deonna.
much. Thank you.
Did I pronounce your name right?
It's Deonna.
Deonna.
Very close, though.
Okay, well, I was close
You
enough.
were very close. Very close.
Anyhow, Deonna, tell us a little bit about Columbia Direct Primary Care. Where are you at, and what do you do?
Okay. So Columbia Direct Primary Care is in Lake City. So we're right off Highway 90, which is really nice that we have such a good location in the middle of Lake City. If you know Lake City, Highway 90 is kind of where everything runs. So we're there in town.
By the way, we know Highway 90 because Meldon Law's new office
That's right, you are.
is right behind
That's
Moe's
right.
and next to Ileana's.
Yes,
right?
you are.
How
So-
far are you away from there?
Maybe a quarter of a mile.
Which
Maybe.
direction?
So we're east. East from.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So we're down by
you're-
Hobby Lobby and
Oh,
Dick's Sporting Goods.
so you go past the Super Walmart
Yes.
and the Hobby Lobby,
That's
and
right.
And you're right there.
That's
so
right.
we're neighbors.
That's right. We are. We are. And Charles and I are good friends from our networking group. So he's the person that kind of turned me on to this podcast. So we're in Lake City, and direct primary care is a new model of medicine, if you will, especially in the Columbia County area. So it is very different from our traditional offices. We do have quite a few doctors in the Columbia County area, but it's really becoming a nurse practitioner town. There are a lot of nurse practitioners, and when you look at direct primary care, it is different in the aspect that we don't take health insurance. So we are a cash pay practice. The patients pay a membership essentially to be a part of the practice, and if they need to come 20 times that month, they sure can. If they need to come one time that month, then they're free to do so.
Now, I know what nurse practitioners are, but a lot of our listeners and viewers may not. Can you
Okay.
talk a little bit about the background and experience that you have to become a nurse practitioner?
Sure. I went to school in Lake City at Florida Gateway College to get my registered nursing degree. So graduated from there and came over to work at the University of Florida in the NICU. So I was a NICU nurse here and also worked in the emergency room here. So
Now, NICU, what's that
that's the
mean?
neonatal intensive care unit. So the tiny babies. Worked there with those sweet babies for a while. Also worked in the emergency department for a while. And then just as I'm a mother of 3 children, which were young at that time, for our work-life balance, I went to work in home health care for about 5 years, and then decided that it was time to go back and finish my master's of nursing, which is nurse practitioners are either a master's of nursing or a doctorate of nursing.
And where did you go to school for that?
So I went to South College, which is actually based out of Atlanta, Georgia, but my campus was in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what do they teach you in that program as far as, to get your credentials as a nurse practitioner?
So it's a more advanced than our traditional nursing skills. So our nursing skills really encompass assessment. We don't diagnose as a nurse. We're able to know our patients, to administer medications, but we don't do the diagnosing part as a registered nurse. So when you advance into an advanced nurse practitioner role, advanced registered nurse practitioner role, then from that point we are able to diagnose, we're able to dispense medications, and it just really takes us to the next level of care for our patients.
Yeah. Of course, when I go to my doctors, I'm dealing with nurse practitioners frequently.
Yes.
And I think, in my mind, nurse practitioners are, becoming almost like the general practitioners in medicine.
Yeah, it seems like it. And I think a lot of patients appreciate that because we do still have our heart of nursing. A lot of patients say we are very caring and compassionate because we've been at the bedside caring for patients. So that carries into our roles as nurse practitioners.
I hear it a lot. We do personal injury cases, so I hear a lot from clients of ours who are treating with different folks that they really relate to whoever their nurse practitioner is at a practice.
Right.
And that's who they're communicating with most of the time, and that they're very, very comfortable doing it that way. In many ways, I think nurse practitioners have a little more time to communicate
Right.
with people, and the biggest frustration we hear from people is that they don't get to spend any face time with their doctor.
Yeah, that's hard. Time is hard, especially in the insurance realm of medicine. Time is just a very tough issue.
Yeah, because the doctor has so much time, and a lot of times you have Blue Cross, Medicare that are setting rates, and that it's not financially feasible for a doctor
Right.
to spend 20 minutes or 30 minutes
No.
with a patient because he's got to cover all the overhead, take care of
Right.
everybody on the team.
That's right.
And they got to pay somebody to do the billing and collecting and
That's
all of that
exactly right.
stuff, and it gets to be where 5 minutes or 10 minutes
Yeah.
is about all they can spend with
Yes.
somebody.
We're given on average 7 minutes per patient
In what setting?
in a traditional insurance setting. In a traditional healthcare setting, we're given 7 minutes per patient.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I think folks intuitively understand that the doctors aren't spending a lot of time in the room. I never heard before that the traditional, that I guess Blue Cross and Medicare and all, they have certain time standards. So that, what do they want? You to spend a minimum of 7 minutes with the patient?
Well, so the 7 minutes really comes from when you basically put the dollars, the cost of the day together, and the number of patients that you have to see in a day to basically keep the lights on and keep the staff in place. The average run comes into 7 minutes per provider, per patient, per day.
Now, at Columbia Direct Primary Care, how much time can you spend with patients?
I spend 30 to 60 minutes with every patient that comes through the door.
Wow. So tell me what that 30 to 60 minute meeting or assessment, what are you doing during that time?
So initially, especially, I spend a lot of time getting to know my patients and to understand what their goals are. A lot of my patients are taken aback in that first meeting when I say, tell me what your goal is. What's your goal for your health? You have to live in this body. I'm not living in it for you. So tell me what you want to do. And a lot of them just kind of look at me and don't really have an answer for that question because they've never been asked that question. So we spend a lot of time working on their goals, working toward, do they want a medication or do they want to try to change with diet? Do they want to use more natural options? So we really explore those things in our visits. And it does take a lot of time to really understand.
Now, I
that piece of it.
went on your website, I saw that you do offer weight loss
I do.
treatment. Can you tell us a little bit about what are some of the protocols that you have to help folks get to a healthier weight?
Absolutely. A lot of it's lifestyle. So we really do talk a lot about lifestyle to begin with. How are you active? What do you eat? How many times a day are you eating? So we really start small, and I, again, judge that to the patient's goals. Some patients don't really want to make a lot of lifestyle changes. They just want to be put on medications. Those generally aren't the right patients for my practice because we're walking down this road together. So we really start with, I tell my patients, I want you to put this app on your phone. I want you to start tracking your calories. I want you to start moving 30 minutes a day. And then next week, you and I are going to talk and tell me how that felt for you. And then we will start working toward, we have some different things in the office that we offer, like fat burner shots, weight loss shots. We do have some more natural weight loss kits that I partner with a pharmacy in Orlando that we do offer those for patients. And then there are some really good medications on the market, if we can get insurance to cover them, that can help patients lose weight and safely lose weight without causing the cardiac side effects of some of the older medications that we used to use for weight loss.
Well, it's pretty amazing that when I was a kid growing up, it seemed like there were a lot less overweight, morbidly obese
Absolutely.
people.
That's
so
right.
Have you're very young compared to me. However, even in your short life, you've probably noticed that there's an
Absolutely.
increase in, I call it morbid obesity. I
Right.
mean, you know it when you see it,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
And-
That's right.
And it's like, wow. However, I think it's such a challenge. First of all, it's amazing what you're doing because you're helping people
That's right.
save their lives.
Yeah.
I want to pick this up. We've got a short 60-second break coming up, but we're going to be right back to talk about how to lose weight in a healthy way. Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Being a client at Meldon Law was special because I felt like I was really being listened to and I felt welcome by the entire staff. If I were in a situation where I needed legal advice and help, I would absolutely reach out to Jeffrey because his reputation alone speaks for itself. But on a personal level, I know that he would take care of me and help me solve those problems, and I would feel safe with him.
Welcome back to Meldon Law and Friends. I'm Jeffrey Meldon, founder of Meldon Law, and we are having a fabulous conversation here with Deonna Willis, the owner of Columbia Direct Primary Care. Deonna, before the break, we were talking about the weight loss strategies that you have. Can you tell me a little bit about how do you kind of encourage people to jump in on something that maybe they haven't really thought about?
Yeah. Well, I think that traditionally, I feel like people feel very judged when they come and want to talk about weight, or feel very judged about, it's too far, I'm too far gone. So really, a little bit of encouragement goes a long way in the world of weight loss. And I really encourage my patients to come in every single week. Let's get on that scale every single week. And when they have those wins on the scale, when they lose a few pounds, then they feel like, oh, I can do this. So then it really creates a momentum within them. And I feel like coming in every week creates the relationship with themselves and myself, so that, we are talking about, I am looking through, and I do have a friend of mine, Kristen Kuhn, who goes to the same gym that I go to. She actually does nutrition. That's her thing, is nutrition. So we offer her as part of the practice as well, that she can do nutrition consults, because a lot of people don't even know where to start. So we just really start on that path together, and working together with patients makes all the difference in the world.
Well, it's amazing. What you're doing is so important. It's nothing new. I grew up.
Right.
My mother went to Weight Watchers, right?
Yeah,
she
that's
had,
right.
She had 3 kids in a period of 6 years, and wanted to stay healthy, and
Sure.
she made an effort. And I remember having a Weight Watchers scale in our home, and that she would get on
Yes.
it. And so I guess the message to everybody who's listening and viewing this is that there's some very healthy, constructive, fun ways to
Sure,
lose weight.
absolutely.
That it doesn't mean that you're never going to have a burger again. It doesn't
Right.
mean you're not going to enjoy some of your favorite things. It has more to do with portion control,
Absolutely.
a little exercise here and there, and things
Yes.
that can actually slowly but surely. And again, the other thing that I've noticed is a slow long-term weight loss is better than a
That's
sharp, sudden.
That's right. Slow and steady wins the race.
Okay,
Absolutely.
otherwise, you get a rebound
That's
effect
right.
on it.
Every
and
time.
Stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So, let's talk about some other things.
Okay.
I know that you have some standards there as far as on-time visits, which to
Yes.
me is really interesting, because we know a lot of the folks in town that are running medical clinics, and the doctors, and it happens to me, right? Even being a minor celebrity, right? They make me
That's
wait
right,
for
that's
40
right.
minutes
It's
sometimes,
horrible.
right? And it's like, I'm sitting there going like, I got a client, and I go to the nurse and I say, I got a client, and I really don't want to make my client wait. I set aside an hour and a half for this, and we're 40 minutes, and I'm not even into the
Right.
back room and
Right.
stuff like that. And it's like, and when my doctor comes in, he's great, and he spends time with me, and he does a good job. But it's like I'm thinking to myself, why is it that you can't run a doctor's office with appointments that are on time, and when they say show up at 1:00, you're in the back room by 1:05, and if you and you're going to see the doctor, as soon as the nurse does a workup or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Okay, I understand that doctors have to see a lot of people, but it seems to me if you're well organized, you ought to be able to keep on time in scheduling. So tell us a little bit about how you do it so you don't waste people's time.
Okay. I do it because I have so much more time. It only takes one patient in the morning that's more complex than you're ready for to throw your whole day in a tailspin when you're on such tight time standards. So my office is a very small office, about 900 square feet, and we have 2 chairs in our waiting room. And we never wish to have more than one person sitting in that chair, and usually if we do, it's a family member, because they come in and they are taken right away, getting their vitals, put in a room. We only have 2 exam rooms, and I am in the room. When their appointment time starts, unless they are late, I am in the room with them.
Well, I think that's really important. So you schedule more time. So the
Yes,
secret is
absolutely.
giving yourself more time
Right.
to be with the patient, and then you can give them, be on time, give them the time that they
right.
need to do a comprehensive evaluation of what their needs are. So what happens when somebody comes in and you go, oh, this person has some serious conditions? What do you do then?
So, if they need to, if they're really serious, like they need to go to the hospital, then that's where they go. But if they need to be sent to a specialist, oddly, although my practice is not an insurance practice, most of my patients have insurance. And they come to my practice because they like the time. They like that they have more time with me. They like that they don't spend their time waiting. So, they're sent out to specialists. We do have a lot of really good specialists in Columbia County, so they do get sent to them. Some of the cash pay patients, we do have to work with our specialists to make sure that the patients can afford it. And what we really do is create a plan. This is the most important thing that needs to happen right now. So how many dollars is that going to cost us? And then we just create a plan and work toward, the most important things have to be taken care of first, and then we work toward the lesser things.
Well, I think it's great that you're actually trying to work on plans that are affordable. what drives me crazy is if you go into a specialist and you've got Blue Cross or Medicare, they take 20 cents on the dollar for what their bill is, and it's it's $7.50 for this appointment. However, if you have Blue Cross, we're gonna give Blue Cross or we'll take $150 from Blue Cross.
Right.
And for a lot of people, the difference between $150 and $750 makes a difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you help kind of bridge that gap,
Right.
so that you can come up with affordable plans.
Absolutely.
I find it interesting that a lot of your patients have health insurance.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're coming here. I think it's a probably a good indicator of what bugs people.
Right. I agree. I agree.
It's like, yeah, I love my doctor, but why do you wait 40 minutes to
Right.
get in? And
Yeah.
why do I have to set aside 3 hours for a 10-minute
10-minute slot.
consult
Right.
or whatever?
I agree.
So I want to talk about some other stuff. I know you do. There's hormone replacement therapy. Is it called Biate?
Bioti.
Bioti.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So it was very interesting how I stumbled into Bioti, I guess would be a way to say it. My massage therapist was actually telling me that she was doing this hormone replacement therapy and it changed her life. And when anyone says to me, it changed my life, to me, that's a big statement. It changed my life. So I started asking her, what is this? What are you doing? And so she told me, I'm doing these Bioti pellets. They've changed my life. So I called the company and said, can I talk to one of your reps? I'm really interested in this thing that's changing people's lives. So their rep came out, or my rep now came out to my office, and we sat down and talked, and she just started telling me about some things, and the Bioti pellets themselves are testosterone. So traditionally we think about testosterone for men, but it's actually very important in the world of a woman's body as well. And then I went to a training in Tampa for this, and they taught us that testosterone in a woman's body, it starts to decline in our early 30s, and then it just continues to decline, which is why women have osteoporosis and men don't. Why women have dementia 8-to-1 to men. Why, and the joint pains and the brain fog and all these things that are derived from not having enough testosterone. So I really started to research this and just opened my eyes to a whole new world of things that I had never investigated. So I really fell in love with Bioti because it's natural. They're made from natural products. It's made from yams and soy, so it's not like we're putting a bunch of chemicals into people's bodies. It's a little pellet that I just place under the skin. For women, it stays in place for 3 months. For men, it stays in place for 6 months, and it gives them natural, continuous testosterone in their body. So it returns a lot of those things they've lost.
Well, I think that's fabulous. I mean, I know that there's all kinds of changes that go on
Right.
as we age,
Absolutely.
and you don't necessarily you can't necessarily reverse the aging process.
Right.
But while you're going through it, you can certainly enhance how you feel. You can gain muscle strength. There's a lot, and it sounds like it also goes along with some of your weight loss
Absolutely.
Ideas, right?
Absolutely.
So,
And it is one of the things that I check. I always say, let's check your hormones because we got to start at the foundation. If the foundation's off, we can't correct anything else. Because it is a barrier for a lot of women. If we don't have testosterone, especially those that go to the gym and eat all the right things and they cannot lose any weight, it's frustrating and they give up. So when we can correct things like hormones and then they start to see those wins, they just keep going.
yeah, I'm really into it. I mean, I've spent my at least the second half of my life working out and trying to do things that are healthy, because I always say it's like your body is like the one car you have in your life, and do you want
That's
to?
right.
I don't want to be driving a jalopy.
That's right. You are not wrong.
As I age, right?
You are not wrong.
So I think I want to thank you, Deonna, for joining us again. Go to Columbia Direct Primary Care. You can Google it, Lake City. What's the website if folks want to get a hold of you?
It is www.columbiadpc, like directprimarycare.com.
Okay, well, thank you very much for this
Thanks so
great interview. I'm really excited about what you're doing, and we're going to be back next week with another terrific episode of Meldon Law and Friends. Thank you all very much for listening.